I'm going to read the mantra number 38 from this book today. Atharva Ved, Rishi Atharva. Page number 121 if you have this book. Om ye trishpataha pariyanti vishwarupani vibhrata vachaspatirbalaha tesham tanvo adya dadhatu me. हे प्रभु, आपने 21 तत्वों का द्वारा सृष्टि की रचना की और उन्हीं द्वारा असंख्य रूप इस विश्व में सर्वत्र आपकी शक्ति से विद्यमान है। उन्हीं तत्वों से हमारा शरीर भी निर्मित हुआ है। प्रभु, वे तत्व हमारे शरीरों को सशक्त बनाए रखें और उन तत्वों का गुण सदा यथार्थ कायम रहे। हम भी ऐसा प्रयास करें और तत्वों को हानि ना जाए। Okay, so the footnote, जो 21 तत्व, 5 ज्ञान इंद्रियां, 5 कर्म इंद्रियां, 5 एलिमेंट्स तत्व, बेसिक एलिमेंट्स आर कॉल्ड तत्व आल्सो, 5 महाभूत एंड 1 जीव। ओके, 21 तत्व सृष्टि के प्रभु रचे हैं आप, उनसे रचना जगत की कीन प्रभु ने आप। देह हमारा बना है उन तत्वों का देव, रहे सदैव सशक्त वह लगे आपकी सेव। जीवन के आधार जो 21 तत्व देव, जन को शिक्षा दीजिए करें उनकी सेव। अशुद्ध करें न तत्व हम, रहें सभी वे शुद्ध, शुद्ध रहें जल आदि सब, होए देव न क्रुद्ध। उपहास की ये बात न जान, अशुद्ध दया सब जगत महान। हमने तत्व हैं किए अशुद्ध, कोई भी तत्व रहा न शुद्ध। जिस शाखा पर बैठे हैं हम, उसी को काट रहे हैं हम। We cannot live without these elements, but we keep on polluting. And हमारे ऋषियों ने कहा, don't do it. Be wise. Okay. ओम गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः, गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। अस्तो मा सद्गमया तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमया। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। So Astavakra Gita, we are on the chapter number 18 and we ended our class with verse number 6, where Rishi Astavakra is saying, those whose understanding is fully unveiled, as soon as illusion ceases and the self is realized, they shine from the misery. Vit shokaha virajantehe niravarna drishteya. So that's where we ended the class. So this whole chapter is a rather long chapter compared to the other chapters, 100 verses. So a lot of great wisdom in there for us. Where we are going, what we need to do, and when we reach there, how do we feel? Okay. So number 7. Samastam kalpanaha matram atma muktaha sanatanaha iti vigyaye dhiraha hikam abhyasyati balavat. Samastam, all that exists. Kalpana matram, mere imagination. Atma, self. Muktaha, free. Sanatanaha, eternal. Iti means thus, vigyaye, knowing. He means indeed, kim means what or does he, that's what it means over here. Abhyasyati, acts. Balvat, like a child. All that exists is mere imagination. The self is free and eternal. Knowing thus, does the wise one act like a child? So it's like a question over here. Does he really act like a child? How does a child act? Child will act irresponsibly. Child will act foolishly because intellect is not developed yet fully. Child sometimes will act mischievously also. Child will act playfully also. So that's why he put a question for us. So that means a wise person will not act like that, like a child, irresponsible. So on awakening from a dream, awaker realizes that the dream was a mere imagination. The same thing happens to an awakened person. So in that sense, he is saying that it's all imagination. For us, this world seems more real than the Atma and Paramatma. We think Atma and Paramatma, that's the imagination of some people. But for a wise person, this is imagination and the reality is the Brahma everywhere. So one who has awakened to the higher plane of consciousness, can he ever act like a child in the world then? Okay, he'll be always alert. So because a child in his ignorance may invite harm for himself, but a wise person will not. So he's so well established in the harmony of the universal self that all his actions, they will bring only blessings for other people. Whatever he acts, the outcome of that action is a blessing for other people, unlike a child. So that's what he's trying to tell us. Atma Brahm iti nishchate bhav abhavyau cha kalpito nishkamaha kim vijanati kim brute cha kroti kim. Atma self, Brahm iti means thus, nishchate, having known with certitude, certainty. Bhav abhav, existence and non-existence. Kalpito, imagined. Nishkamaha, desireless. Kim means what? Vijanati, knows. Kim means what? Brute says. Cha is and. Kroti does. Kim means what? Having known with certitude that the self is Brahma and the existence and non-existence are mere imaginations. What can one who is desireless know, say, or do? So again, this is a question we need to ask ourselves. So first, we got to look at this term, bhav abhav, existence and non-existence. This is a very popular and a much used philosophical idiom among the scholars, especially the Vedantic scholars. Bhav abhav, existence, non-existence. So it's really indicating the entire world of polarity. And this world of polarity is recognized in terms of the pairs of opposites, like joy and sorrow, heat and cold, good and bad, right and wrong. So it's just giving the attention towards all of that. So all of them at once, that's why I said it's an idiom. All of them at once comprehended by this idiom, bhav abhav. So the pairs of opposites are expressions of the mind and intellect. And what do they really do to us if we look at it? They create a restlessness in our mind. So that's why he said, having known with certitude that the self is Brahm and the existence and non-existence are mere imagination. So that means this kind of a person, the person who has risen to this level, no more restlessness in the mind. Because he's connected with the substratum. He knows I am the substratum. So that's where the peace is coming from. I am the Atma. Atma doesn't change. It's part of Brahma. Bhav and Abhav is only part of the Prakriti. So one who has awakened to the self has ended all his illusions. It's almost like going back to that example of the rope and the snake. Once you know it's a rope, no more disturbance. Okay, disturbance is only when you don't know in reality. So this person is fully awakened. So that's what this nishchite word is. Okay, so for such an individual who has transcended the mind and has reached a state of perfect desirelessness. It's a very important term, desirelessness. Because the desires are the one which keep on giving a fluctuation in our mind. I need to do this, I need to have this. So reaching the state of perfect desireless, what happens then? There is neither any ego nor any action. Person is doing the action, but as a non-doer. That's where the stability is seen. So that's why the teacher is asking us, what can one who is desireless know, say, or do? Because normally our disturbance is because what we said, what others said, what we did, and what we are supposed to do. So what can one who is desireless know, say, or do? So nishkamaha. See, nishkama is desireless. No kamna. Kim vijanati, kim brute, chakroti kim. So while doing everything, also not doing anything, no impressions are left. While saying also, no impressions are left. Total absorption in the reality. So here knowing is the function of intellect. In this particular verse, knowing. So that means intellect is still. Saying represents all activities at the body level. And doing all the functions of the mind. So mind, body, intellect, they're all perfectly still. So there's no sense of doership or enjoyship. That is a perfect master. Okay. There is another ancient scripture which says the same thing. Shuddhau mukta sadevatma nave badhyet kahirchit bandh moksho manasamsto tasmin chandate prashamyate. The liberated is ever the self, beyond the mind, and so not bound by anything. Bondage and liberation are conditions that depend upon the mind. One whose mind has been hushed up, his entire sense of individuality has ended. Okay? So then in verse number 9, he further explains, Ayam sa aham ayam na aham iti kshinah vikalpanah sarvam atma iti nishchite tushneem bhutasya yogina. Ayam sa, this is that. Aham I am this. Na aham, not I. Iti means thus kshina, extinguished. Vikalpana, thoughts. Sarvam means everything. Atma is the self. Again, iti means thus nishchite, knowing with certitude. Tushneem, become quiet. Tushneem bhutasya, becoming quiet. Yogina, of the yogi. such thoughts as this is that, I am that, and I am not this, are extinguished for the yogi who has become quiet. That means there's no fluctuations in the mind. Yogi knows for certainty that I am part of Atma. Otherwise, constantly we are churning. Who am I? Where am I? Where did I come from? Where will I go? So yogi has found the answers for all that. So such thoughts as this is that, I am not this, are extinguished for the yogi who has become quiet. Knowing with the certitude. So this quietness has come from that knowledge. Who has become quiet, knowing with certitude that everything is a self only. Everything is only Brahma. The self means Brahma. Everything else is a imaginary or temporary or unreal, whatever you want to call it, those are the names given. Okay? With the certainty, this knowledge that I am Brahma. So on realizing the one infinite self as all pervading, it's not only in this body alone. It's not only in my guru or not only in the deity. It's everywhere. So infinite self as all pervading and immutable, every kind of mental concept ceases. That's what this Kshina Vikalpana is. Okay, normally it happens that we are thinking, I am the body. Not only that, I have an old body, I have a sick body, I have a beautiful body. We just keep on churning with this body. Or even not the body, anything outside of our body. We are constantly fluctuating our thoughts around that. So over here, this concept is very clear to this yogi. So that's why these mental disturbances, they're all gone. All the intellectual approximations have extinguished. To become the self and to live in the state of self is to end all such artificial repetitions and the conceptual approximations, because that's what we have been doing. Churning, constantly churning about something which doesn't even have much significance. So the liberated in life directly experiences the self immutable. So it's not after dying. It's not somewhere else. It's right here. Okay? With all the duties around, whatever is happening around, still having this with a certainty, this knowledge that I am Atma, which is part of Paramatma. And so is everybody else too. So a person who has realized all the thoughts, agitations, they have extinguished. And he lives continuously in the awareness that he is the self and he is the all. That's what this great teacher is telling us. We may or may not be there, but we all are moving towards that. So if we know where we are going and what it's supposed to feel like, then we can progress faster. Okay? So na vikshepaha, na cha ekagriyam, na atibodha, na mudtaha, na sukham, na cha vadukham, upashantasya yoginaha. Another beautiful verse. Na vikshepa. No Vikshep is distractions. Not ekagryam. Ekagrata is concentration. Atibodha, increase of knowledge. Moodta, ignorance. Na sukham, no pleasure. Na chava dukham, no pain. Upashantasya, who has become serene. Upashantasya, yogina of yogi. The yogi who has attained serenity has no more any distractions. Because if there is a distraction, that means serenity is not there. Maybe 1 minute it's there, then it goes away. But complete serenity is when there is no more any distractions. That doesn't mean there's no fluctuations outside, but effect of the outer fluctuation is not inside. He's talking about the state of mind. So the yogi who has attained serenity has no more any distractions. Sometimes we think a yogi will not have any problems outside. No, does not feel the problem inside. Because outer world will change. Okay, but do we need to bring it inside? That is up to us. No concentration. Why no concentration? Because he's already concentrating. A person who's already sleeping, what is the question that how to go to sleep? So in that sense, don't take it like that he doesn't concentrate anymore. He is already beyond concentration. No increase in knowledge. We want to increase our knowledge because we have a limited knowledge. But yogi is already connected with the God. No increase in knowledge, because how can you increase infinite? Right? No increase in knowledge, no ignorance. He has neither pleasure nor pain. So, in other words, the liberated in life has transcended his mind, intellect, equipment. That's why he is so serene. There's no fluctuations of the knowledge or feelings. Nothing can disturb him. See how easily we get disturbed. We get disturbed with a good news or a bad news, or no news also, imagination. See, the distractions are the experiences of agitations in the mind. Okay? And concentration is practiced as a discipline of the intellect over the distracted and the wild mind. So his mind is not wild, he's not distracted, doesn't have to concentrate. He's already there. So in that sense, understand this verse. And pleasure and pain, they are the experiences of the mind. He has transcended the mind, no pleasure or pain, no question about that. So all these factors have been enumerated to show that there is no stormy state of restlessness in the heart of the man who's perfectly situated in the liberation, or a man of perfection, or Jivan Mukta, whatever you want to call it. Those are the names we give. Nothing disturbs his infinite serenity. He experiences what Jesus Christ described. See, other faiths, they talk about that too. Maybe different words, different language. What did Jesus Christ say? He said, the peace that passes all understanding. That kind of a peace. That kind of a shanti, serenity. That kind of a connection. Okay, so the peace that passes all understanding. So we got to just look within. How peaceful are we? How easily our peace gets disturbed. Somebody said something, somebody did something, somebody did not say what we thought that they should do. How easily we get disturbed. If somebody did not say hi or somebody did not like our picture, how easily do we get disturbed? Look within. We don't have to talk about it, but we have to just only contemplate, watch ourselves. That shows how far we need to go and how far we have come. Peace is the key over here. Okay, so that's why I said nothing disturbs this kind of a person. It's not that that person is made out of stone, still has a body, still has a mind, intellect. Everything is there, all the equipments are there, but does not get shaken up as easily as we do, or does not get shaken up at all. Okay? स्वराज्ये भैक्ष्य वृतो च लाभ अलाभे जने वने निर्विकल्प स्वभावस्य न विशेषः अस्ति योगिनः स्वराज्ये in the dominion of heaven bhakshya vrito in beggary labh alabhe in gain and loss jane in society among people vane in forest nirvikalp swabhavasya whose nature is without desire agitations nirvikalp no visheshaha no difference asti means is yogina of the yogi. You can see that he's calling this wise person, perfect person, a yogi. Yogi means who is united with God. And what is the union? Union of the Atma and the Paramatma, the soul and the creator, or the infinite, the absolute, the God, whatever name we give. That's a yogi. Be he in heaven, Swaraj, my own kingdom. That's called a heaven. Be he in heaven or be he in beggary, bhaksha. Be he in gain or in loss, in company of the society or lonely in forest. What happens? There is no difference to the yogi, who is free from desire, agitations. So in the previous verse, he mentioned the continuous state of tranquility of the inner equipments of the liberated in life. Like inside he is completely. But we all know that as long as we have a body, we'll be roaming with other people in the society. Sometimes there will be a loss, sometimes there will be gain. Sometimes we are alone, sometimes we are with the other people. So, but this great Guru is telling us that this person is roaming around in the same world we are roaming around, but the disturbances of the world, outer disturbances, don't enter inside. Because there could be thousands of situations, thousands, where the outer world can blast our peace. There is a big storm inside because there's a storm outside. But here in this verse, Astavakra ji is clearly declaring that the outer world of happenings, the circumstances, the conditions around a realized person will not affect him at all, at any time. It's not only in the morning or in the evening or while he is meditating. or whether, or not only when he's being pampered, anytime. He could be a bhikshuk, doesn't have anything to eat, but there could be all kinds of luxury around him. So you can place him in the heavenly arrangement of circumstances. So that means the extreme happiness and pleasure, or place him in the middle of poverty. Even force him to live a life of a beggar. His inward peace and joy is not affected at all. That is the key. Not at all. To him, gain and loss are insignificant. Because worldly gains don't mean anything to him. His happiness is coming from the real happiness, where all the happiness comes from. It's like a reservoir of happiness is connected with that. Okay? So he lives with his head and heart lost in the transcendental. But at the feet on the earth though, ko dharma, ko cha kama, ko cha artha, ko vivekita. Idam kritam idam na iti dvandhe muktasya yoginah. Ko means where? Dharam. Dharam is, you all know, righteousness. Ko means where? Kamaha. That is like a sense of enjoyment. Kamaha. Artha, wealth. Vivekta. Vivek, discrimination. Idam means this. Kritam means done. Dvandehe, pairs of opposites. Muktasya, free. Yogina, of the yogi. For a yogi who has transcended such dual notions as this is to be done and this is not to be done. Idam kritam, idam na iti. Okay? So for a yogi who has transcended such dual notions as this is to be done and this is not to be done, where is righteousness? Where is sense enjoyment? Kam purti. Where is worldly prosperity? And where is vivekita? Okay, so all those which we consider very important goals of life, he understood that those were just the means. That doesn't mean that his actions are not according to the dharam. But he knows that dharam, arth, kama, moksha, they are all means for that connection. So in that sense, he is saying that in the relative field of consciousness alone, that ego can function. But he has risen above the pairs of the opposites. Agitations of the ego has left him. Okay? So no longer he is living with the compulsions of the pairs of opposites. Oh no, this is dharam, this is a dharam. Should I do this? Should I not do this? He has gone beyond that. So he is not moving towards moksha because he has reached the moksha while living. That's why this is called a jivan mukta. He is not trying to sleep, he is already asleep. So he has reached where he is going. Okay? So to a man of perfection, there is no such self-criticism. See, it's a self-criticism when we say that I should have done it. Did I do it right or not? Did I say the right words or not? So self-criticism is not rising in him. Because self-criticism rises in the intellect. Intellect says, did I do it right or not? So he has transcended all the equipments. He has no regrets in life. No regrets. regarding what he has not yet done, or even for what he has done. So that's why this word vivekta. So the vivekta word is for that, discrimination. We've already reached there. Okay. So let's do one more, or maybe two more. Let's see. Krityam kim api na ev asti nak api hridi ranjanah yatha jivanam ev ih jivan muktasya yoginah. Krityam, duty. Kim means any. Ev means surely. Asti is ka api, any. Hridi, at heart. Ranjana, attachment. Yatha Jivanam, pertaining to present life. Yatha Jivanam, this is also a very popular saying among the scholars. Yatha Jivanam. Ev ih. Ev means only ih in this world. Jivan Muktasya, liberated in life. Jivan Mukta, Yogina, of the yogi. So whether we say yogi or Jivan Mukta, it's the same thing. Okay, so yogi, that caliber of yogi. We are not talking about a yogi who can do few asanas or who call themselves a yogi. No, this is a yogi who is completely united. So that's a Jivan Mukta also, obviously. So the yogi who is liberated in life has neither any duty nor any attachment at heart. His actions merely follow the lot of his life. So whatever comes in his life, he just does it. So man of perfection has transcended the ego. Not only that he has no more any ego sense as I, but also has no more any ego feeling as my. Okay, I and my, he has risen above. No sense of possessions, no sense of attachment. So he lives as an observer. See, Yatha Jivanam really means he lives, he witnesses, he's a Sakshi, observer, indifferent. He is no more a doer. Even while doing, he is no more a doer. So we will see this kind of a person with equal enthusiasm for all the actions which he is supposed to do. Whatever comes in front of him, he'll just do it with a full enthusiasm. So his body is vigorously working, but still there's no doership. So that's why in this verse, Astavakra ji is describing the liberated in life as seen by us, as seen in the society working. So that's why he used the word Yatha Jivanam. Because worldly person will choose the profession. I need to do this because I will make more money, or I'll be regarded more successful. Choosing. I'll marry that person because of this. I'll live in that house or in that community because others will value me more. Okay, so that's a worldly person. But to a man of perfection, there's no choosing. You want to see this person planning or demanding, he just lives. That's it. Because these outer conditions, outer environments does not really affect his happiness internally. That's what Yatha Jivanam is. It's a very strong word actually. Sounds like simple two words, but they speak volumes. Yatha Jivanam. So we cannot even describe, we cannot even explain the real meaning of this Yatha Jivanam. But the people who have risen to that level, they understand that. Yatha Jivanam. So a man of realization is ever in the self. Because he has become the self. All the activities that take place, but he himself is ever an observer of his own body functioning through its varied experiences of joy and sorrow. But he is the observer. He never gets involved in them internally. It's very hard to imagine for people like us, but this is what he is telling Raja Janak, because Raja Janak is there. They both can communicate in this kind of a language. We are only trying to understand their language. And we need to practice wherever we are. While doing the practice, we all need to get there. Okay? So right now what we need to do, just work on reducing our desires. Work on getting less fluctuated. If the fluctuation of our mind was like this, just to bring the ups and downs a little closer to the equilibrium. Do our daily practice. Tell our mind again and again, I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm not the intellect. I'm not the ego. I am the self. Tell yourself, convince yourself. Pretty soon you'll experience it. So let's do one more, then we'll definitely stop. Kva moha, kva cheva vishwam, kva tathanam, kva muktatah, sarv sankalp simayam, vishrantasya mahatmanam. Kva means where? Moha, delusion. Again, he's talking about this kind of a perfect yogi. Kva, where? Cha means and, Vishwam, universe. Hanam, tathanam, it's a renunciation. Muktataha, liberation. Saravasankalp semayam, beyond the borders of the world of desire, agitations. Vishrantasya, resting. Mahatmana, of the noble-minded one. So whether you call it a Mahatma, or whether you call it Yogi, or whether you call it Jivan Mukta, same thing. Where is delusion? So for this kind of a person, there's no delusion. Delusion is only if the mind and the intellect equipment is covering us. And where is the universe? Universe means this manifested world. Because he sees only Brahma everywhere. Where is its renunciation? Don't have to renounce it because it doesn't even exist. I know I don't have a tail, so I don't have to take care of my tail. I don't have to wash it. So for this kind of a person, there's no universe. Or where is the liberation itself for the noble-minded one who rests beyond the world of desire agitations? So the ignorance of the self procreates the delusion of the world. But to a yogi who has awakened himself to the self, there is no more delusion. So kva moha. And he does not recognize this polarity of this world. Because he is recognizing only the self everywhere. So he is not recognizing the world of objects. And what is there for him to renounce then? Calm and serene, he lives the bliss of the peaceful self. So if we need to know whether we are moving towards this goal or not, we have to look at it. Are we calmer than before or not? Are we serener than before or not? That's what we have to check ourselves. That is the, as they say, litmus test. The serenity in us. It's not that Are we getting more appreciation? Are people calling us with a certain degree upadhis? No. Ourselves. Are we calm or not? Okay. I'm going to stop it here.